Well, welcome back again, everyone. I am fresh off the latest South Carolina sit-down, the small event we held here today. South Carolina sit-down number 17. Had a small but enthusiastic group, and we had a great time and raised a little more money for Sister Care. So today we are going to review another of the Cigar International house brands. This is called the El Mayor, and this is the Robusto. From what I can read on the Cigar International site, this uses a Cuban seed Corojo wrapper and Nicaraguan filler. Interestingly enough, this cigar is actually made in Honduras. So we'll see how it is. It's a nice light medium, I guess you'd say, brown. Not an overly oily wrapper, but it does feel nice in the hand. I'm excited about this cigar because the price point is extremely inexpensive, and having a lot of Nicaraguan in it got my attention. So I hope it's good. We're going to find out. Only sample I have, so we're going to try it here today. The El Mayor Robusto. All right, I mentioned that it feels nice in the hand. There is your density, if you will. Now, let's get to it. The main thing about any cigar is what it tastes like. It's well made. I mean, actually, there are no veins. If you notice, it's very well made because I rotated. Very inexpensive, on the par of about $2 a stick. That's inexpensive. The draw is fine. Draw is fine, just a tad firm. But it is, as I said before, quite dense. My lighter giving me a few fits there. It's full of fuel. All right, let's see how this cigar is. A lot of sweet notes right away. A lot of sweet orange notes, and it's definitely orange. A lot of times I describe citrus flavors: grapefruit, tangerine, orange. This is orange. It could quickly change to cedar because I get a few cedar notes there. There appears to be some richness already beginning at the beginning. There appear to be some coffee notes. There's a decent amount of pepper. Right now, and this is early, it's the beginning of the cigar, of course, I would rate the pepper at about a 6 or 7. There are hints of other things that may come in, and one of them might be some cream or vanilla. But it light up, it's so hard to pick out every flavor because it hasn't settled down yet. So let's let it do that. The El Mayor Robusto has some nice initial flavors. Let's see if they can maintain it or possibly improve. All right, about a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch in, and flavors have settled down somewhat. The initial flavor of a sweet orange appears to be transitioning over towards cedar. It's not quite there yet. But in addition to that, and it has some richness to it, some nice sweetness. The pepper is still good. There's some coffee notes there. Leather, there are leather notes, and some roasted nut flavors. And those filter over to the finish. The finish is a lot of the roasted nut flavors, a little lingering pepper, and a little cream type finish. So that's where it is at this stage, and we're early. But I would call the cigar medium bodied right now, nothing more. And it's going along nicely. I am going to watch it closely because those flavors could, if they improve, could make this a very enjoyable cigar. And I can't get away from the price point. It would be great to find a very good cigar at a very good price point. Well, we're a good inch and a half in, and the flavors have stayed about the same. Let me give you a breakdown in descending order. You initially get, and it is a combination of orange, citrus, and cedar. Not one or the other, but it's like mixing those two together. Then that's closely followed by leather, coffee, and those subtle roasted nut flavors come at the very tail end. Now, the finish has pretty much gone to one of only a cream. Before you had some of those roasted nut flavors that were creeping over to the finish, and that's sort of gone away. One thing we haven't talked about much is the ash on this cigar, and that's important because a lot of times you'll get cigars that the ash drops every half inch, and it's aggravating. This is a very tight ash, no splintering. It's burning fairly even, as you can see. It hasn't dropped yet, and it doesn't appear to be ready to drop. So that's important for you guys that might have a burn or two on a shirt or a pair of pants, as I do, when the ash tends to drop. But this is a very solid ash. Now, the flavor, the cigar is still medium bodied, and it has some nice flavors. There is a richness and sweetness in the cedar citrus combination. It makes it very nice. The leather really helps it, give it some depth. The coffee notes are always good, and those roasted nut flavors are just a nice addition. The pepper remains very good. So that's where we are now at about, we're about a third of the way through. Let's see what happens next. Well, I'm actually down to the band, and I need to remove it pronto. So I'm going to do that now. The cigar has made some changes. A little trick to removing a band, if it won't come off easily initially, if you want to take it off before that point, let it stay on there, and as the cigar heats up, as it gets closer to the band, it'll loosen that glue and make it easier to remove. And this one came off nicely. What's happened with the flavors is the orange citrus cedar combination has now completely gone cedar. There's no orange citrus anymore. Closely following that cedar, and it is still rich and sweet, there are a ton of leather notes. The leather has really come forward. Coffee notes tagged into the back of that. And you still have subtle roasted nuts. I don't know what kind of nuts, but just, roasted nuts. Pepper remains good. The finish is still one of primarily cream, and you still, every once in a while, depending on the draw, depending on how long you let the smoke stay in your mouth, you'll get some of those roasted nut flavors there also. There is some lingering pepper on the finish also. The big point with this segment is the leather and how much it's come forward. Cedar and leather. The leather and cedar are just about neck and neck as far as intensity. Coffee, of course, follows it up. So that's it. And there I have removed the band. I'll probably, unless something changes, come back here to wrap it up here very here we are down to the end, so we're going to wrap it up. I will point out to you the ash. It has dropped once. It did drop in the ashtray. That, when it falls, will be the second ash to fall. That's been a very tight ash and quite impressive. I like that in a cigar. Of course, the main thing about a cigar is its flavors. The leather remained quite strong, prominent, going along with that sweet citrus, sweet cedar, and the richness decreased slightly. The pepper remained very good, and the finish pretty much stayed about like we talked about before, primarily cream, subtle roasted nuts flavor. So cigar ended up medium bodied, solid medium, and I've been quite impressed with this cigar. I was a little off on the price point. The Robustos are $3 a piece, and the Churchills are roughly $3.50 and change. So it's quite an inexpensive cigar. And for such an inexpensive cigar, it's very good. There are a lot of things I like about the cigar, some things not so much, but overall, it is well worth you trying. And for house brand cigars, very good. The El MEJOR Robusto sums up for me like this. I thought it was good. Would I buy it again? Yes. Would I buy it? I think I'll try to find a 5-pack and give it another shot, because I thought it was pretty good. I want to see if it's consistent. So if it is well worth having in your humidor. I would score this cigar an 89. I liked it that much, and I think it's the richness and the sweetness of the cedar and the leather combination. It's not a harsh leather. It's quite a smooth cigar. Very smooth and smokes very nicely, evenly, as you can see. I mean, pictures speak for themselves. So I liked it a lot. I think it's worth trying, and I would think you would need to. The El MEJOR Robusto gets a solid 89.